Hey everybody, this is Randy McMullen with Amstar Mortgage. Hope you're having a great day today. I wanted to address something about rental properties. I get a lot of questions about this, but what I want to talk about is why rental properties are such a great investment. I'm going to talk a bit about the numbers so you can kind of see how that works out today. But the other thing is a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but can I qualify for a rental property? And I'm going to show you really kind of how easy that is to do. So what we'll do is we'll take an example of a house for $350,000 with 20% down, $70,000, giving you a loan of about $280,000. The principal and interest, taxes, and insurance on a home like that, ballpark would be about $1,760. And the rent on that property would be about $2,100. Now I looked at a couple of different examples, and rents range from $2,000 to $2,600. I used $2,100, which I think is kind of on the conservative side. So even with that, you still get a positive 360. An underwriter looks at it a little differently. They don't see it as a positive 360. They'll give you credit for 75% of the rent amount. So that's $1,575. Then you've got your payment. They subtract that out. So really what an underwriter says is when you're buying a new home, you're not qualifying for $1,760. You only have to qualify for $185. That's a huge difference. So that's going to make it a lot easier for people to qualify. So if you've got 20% down and can stand a little bit of an extra debt ratio, you're going to easily qualify for a loan. Now, how big of a difference will it make in terms of what the money looks like to you at the end of 20 years? I'm just using 20 years as an example to kind of show you how this works over a longer period of time. So what I did was, option one is I took $70,000 and said, you're going to get a 7% return on that money every year for 20 years. And if you do, at the end of 10 years, you'll have $140,676. And in 20 years, you will have $282,712. That's not bad. That's a pretty good return on your money. But what does it do if you were to buy a piece of real estate, a rental property? So you bought this property, and now what we're going to do is for the first 3 years, we're just going to build reserves. So we're going to take this extra $360 a month for 36 months, and we're just going to put it in a savings account just for reserve. So we have that money. So we have $12,000, almost $13,000 at the end of 3 years. And then the next few years, your rent's going to go up over time. I use really conservative numbers. So I'm saying in years 4 through 10, instead of making $360 a month, you're making $500 a month. And you may well make more than that, but this is a good conservative number. So you have $500 a month times 7 years, $42,000. Years 11 through 15, again, you make about $700 a month, making now $42,000. In the last 5 years, again, about $900. Now that's not increasing your rent very much. It's like $50 a year or less. But I want to be real conservative with these numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to do the same thing that I did here. I'm going to consider what that money is going to look like if you invest it and you make 7%, so we can kind of compare apples to apples. So your $13,000 will turn into about $31,000. Your $42,000 in about 10 years, from year 10 to 20 doubles. And again, that's conservative because I didn't double the money from year 4. I'm just saying at the end of year 10. From 11 to 15, 5 more years, you make another $42,000. We don't have 10 years for that. So at the end of year 15, we only have 5 years. So I just took a little bit extra and I multiplied that by 1.5. And then for the last 5 years, I said you made $54,000, and I'm assuming you didn't get any return on that money. Again, these are super conservative numbers. Even so, at the end of 20 years, you have $232,000 versus $282,000. But you also have some expenses with the rental property. So I said, well, you're going to have to put on a new roof. You might put in a new HVAC system, which I said was $12,000. You might have to paint the house twice in the course of 20 years. And I also added in $20,000 of miscellaneous expenses. Again, I'm trying to be really conservative with my numbers. So if I subtract out your expenses, you still come out ahead $180,000. But here's where it gets really good. You own the house, the home value, and I'm using 2% a year for 20 years. I'm not using 4, 5, 6, 7, these crazy numbers we've seen. I'm using a very conservative 2%. And in 20 years, that home is worth $550. And 20 years, the loan balance is $130. So not only do you have $180,000 in cash, you also have $420,000 in equity. So you have a total of $600,000 versus $282. This is why people like to invest in real estate. The return is incredible. You got somebody else paying for your asset along the way, which is not a bad thing. So, at the end of 20 years, you can decide to rent the house and keep it and just take, $1,000 a month positive cash flow and keep your $180,000 in cash. You can sell your property. Hey, if you had $600,000, even at 5% a year in retirement, you would be getting $30,000 a year, $2,500 a month just in interest at 5% on your $600,000 to go along with your Social Security. It really is a great way to move into your retirement. So this is Randy McMullen. If you have some additional questions, please feel free to call me anytime. You can reach me at my cell phone, 404-606-1124, or you can visit me on my website at Amstar Loans. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. This is Randy McMullen.